So the McDonald's boycott actually worked. McDonald's is shutting down operations in Russia. What does this mean, and what is really the entire situation going on here? That's what we'll be talking about today. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to be talking about the McDonald's boycott, hashtag boycott McDonald's, and how it has apparently worked as McDonald's is joining the mass American exodus of businesses that are now halting or pulling their business out of Russia. So if you didn't know, there has been a long list of businesses that have halted their product sale or their business entirely in the nation of Russia after they invaded Ukraine. And a few days ago, I made a video talking about this McDonald's boycott that was going on over on Twitter, this social media movement that was unfolding called hashtag boycott McDonald's. And I talked about why I thought it was stupid and why I thought it would be entirely ineffective, as well, McDonald's shutting down in Russia probably is not going to be the end of the world. Now, McDonald's is not the only company that has actually in the last few days taken their business from Russia. Other major American companies, including PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, and Starbucks, have also decided that they will be halting some, if not all, of their business in Russia. And this is only a short list of the members of the American company world that are now basically leaving Russia as well. There's been video game companies, fast food companies, personal products, and things like that. All kinds of stuff getting basically removed from Russia right now as everything is unfolding as it is. McDonald's and Starbucks are shutting their restaurants and cafes in Russia down, and Coca-Cola is suspending its operations there in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. PepsiCo is also pulling some products from the country. The decisions followed pressure from critics and similar moves by other Western companies. On Twitter, people used boycott hashtags to target companies like McDonald's and PepsiCo that until Tuesday were quiet about their plans for Russia. McDonald's, PepsiCo, and other companies were called out by New York State Comptroller Thomas DiNapoli. Before McDonald's and PepsiCo made their announcements, DiNapoli emailed a number of companies represented in the New York State Common Retirement Fund, including those two companies, urging them to stop doing business with Russia. Quote, companies like McDonald's and PepsiCo, which have a large footprint in Russia, need to consider whether doing business in Russia is worth the risk during this extraordinarily volatile time, DiNapoli said in a statement. On Tuesday, McDonald's spoke out and other major food sellers followed. So this article from CNN basically directly attributes the closures of these McDonald's down to the boycott hashtag that we talked about in the other video. So I'll be honest, I didn't totally see this happening. I mean, I figured that eventually a lot of companies would do this, but I didn't know if McDonald's was going to join the hype train of closing down business in Russia, because at the end of the day, the only thing you can really do with that is, yeah, you can send a message, but beyond that, what else are you actually going to do? You know, it's not like President Vladimir Putin's entire invasion of Ukraine is based on whether or not he can still get a double quarter pounder with cheese meal. I mean, when it comes down to it, right, it just seemed like such an insignificant move for companies like this to stop doing business. Now, you may be like, oh, well, Optimus, it sends a message. These companies, what they're doing is by closing down, they're showing that they don't want to profiteer from the situation, and they don't want to make money in a country that would do something so messed up. Well, the thing about that is, and I don't know if this is controversial to say or not, but the Russian people, for the most part, don't seem to really be in support of this war. In fact, 13,000 as of the last time I looked, Russians have been arrested for participating in anti-war protests. And I mean, to be fair, Putin can really eat whatever he wants. You know, like I said, it's not like Coca-Cola backing out of the country is going to be the end-all be-all, where Putin is going to fall to his knees and throw his arms up in the air and decry, why? Why is my beloved Coca-Cola never going to come back? How will I get my beloved Big Macs now? You know, I never really saw that as being something that would actually be too huge. But apparently it is a big deal, and these companies have decided that pulling their business from Russia is in their best interest. Now, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't really care, you know? If McDonald's feels that it's best for them to stop doing business in Russia, then that's on them. You know, they made that decision. They can live with that, I guess. That's up to them. I'm sure that they did the numbers and everything before making such a pretty massive decision. As far as I know, they have like 850 locations in the country. That's a pretty good amount. So McDonald's has decided to temporarily close all of our restaurants in Russia and pause all operations in the market. CEO Chris Kempczinski, I think is the right way to say that, said in a statement on that day. There were 847 locations of McDonald's in Russia at the close of last year, according to an investor document. Globally, most McDonald's locations are operated by franchise operators, but that's not the case in Russia, where 84% of locations are operated by the company, according to the document. Russia's restaurants, along with another 108 in Ukraine, all operated by McDonald's, accounted for 9% of the company's revenue in 2021, according to the document. In Russia, we employ 62 22,000 people who've poured their heart and soul into our McDonald's brand to serve their communities. We work with hundreds of local Russian suppliers and partners who provide the food for our menu and support our brand, Kimsinski said. And we serve millions of Russian customers each day who count on McDonald's. In the 30-plus years that McDonald's has operated in Russia, we've become an essential part of the 850 communities in which we operate. But he added, at the same time, our values mean we cannot ignore the needless human suffering unfolding in Ukraine. So McDonald's, from what I understand, kind of caved in because of this whole hashtag boycott McDonald's thing, which honestly I thought was pretty stupid, right? Because, you know, people are calling for a boycott of McDonald's in Russia and things like that because they weren't closing down in Russia at the time, at least. It really just doesn't seem to mean much. I mean, yeah, I guess it's a symbolic thing and that's great and whatnot, but it's not like, you know, McDonald's is the biggest company in Russia. I think the US's import ban on Russian oil and gas is going to be a much more effective deterrent in the long run, because, like, you got to think, once again, it's not like the military commanders are going to come in like, Mr. Putin, McDonald's is closing down in Russia. Do we call all our soldiers back? And he's going to, like, slam his fucking fist down on his table and demand that all the troops come home or something like that, right? It seems like it's gotten beyond that, you know? It's gotten beyond a chicken McNugget combo for Vladimir Putin, right? I mean, I guess with Coca-Cola, Pepsi, McDonald's, and all these other companies also mass exiting, that is a different story, right? When you have like 100 or 200 companies all of a sudden say, hey, fuck this, we're done. That is a lot huge. That's a lot more huge than just like McDonald's themselves leaving. And I guess that people were targeting these other companies with boycotts too. I didn't see anything about that, so I didn't really know that that was going on. But at the end of the day, it seems that Russia is still very focused in on and very fixed on invading Ukraine and doing whatever they please there. Even with their economy kind of collapsing around them due to sanctions and stuff like that, Russia is still pretty much full steam ahead on this whole invasion thing. They still have, from what I understand, now nearly 100% of their invasion force now moved into Ukraine in a full-on move to really push this invasion over the edge. Of course, you know, the invasion hasn't been going well for the Russians. They've been suffering from a series of setbacks. Ukraine is definitely holding out a lot better than most of the world thought, than even really what Russia thought. From what I understand, they at least planned to encircle and partially capture Kyiv within 2 days. But instead of that, obviously, Kyiv is still under the control of the Ukrainians, meaning that, well, Russia is kind of set back on their plans and everything. So I don't know what the long-term goal of this is and whether or not this boycott is going to get extended to other products or whatever. I still feel like people are boycotting for the wrong things. I mean, like, at that point, we still hadn't banned Russian gas and whatnot. Like, you know, we were buying a bunch of Russian oil and everything, but people were boycotting to make McDonald's stop operating in the country. So, but it does look like the boycott worked. McDonald's listened and they closed down business along with a bunch of other companies. And I'm sure that these are not going to be the last companies to announce anything like this or to make any sort of decision like this to leave Russia. This will probably continue to happen throughout the duration of the invasion as companies are realizing this is kind of in the public best interest for PR and stuff. But with all of that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shop Opti down below. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, well, talking about the McDonald's boycott and signing out.